Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Locker Room Talk Uncut. Drew Garrison, Chad Penrod in the locker room talking all the latest in sports. Today we're going to cover the Matt Stafford trade from Detroit to Los Angeles. We're going to talk about what the Bengals need to do at number 5. There's a few scenarios that have been talked about. We're going to talk about where Baker lies in the quarterback hierarchy. We're going to get into the Super Bowl preview, of course. Special guest for that. We are going to get into everything coming up here for the next weekend. But before that, you know what? We never talked about really the James Harden trade. We haven't really talked a lot of NBA so far this season.
It was playoff time in the football.
Yeah. It was really hard to focus on anything other than the playoffs, especially you had a team in the playoffs. So, but man, they really all three kind of clicked for the first time. What was it, last night? I think.
Yeah, against the Clippers. Actually, it was a great game. I didn't. Honestly, I'm not gonna sit here and say I watched the entire thing. I only got to watch the end of that. I think last quarter and a half, which was pretty fun because it was back and forth. But that was a good game.
Yeah, I've been in the camp of, that's a lot of talent on a team, but is it going to work? There's a lot of weird personality situations going on in there and all that. But there have been games where, Kyrie was just like fucking AWOL, gone.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was before Harden got there. But Kyrie's been insane since returning from his little mini vacation.
Yeah, I'm not scared of Kyrie at all if Drake's having a party that day, though. Other than that, he won't play. But there's quite a bit of chemistry to create and things like that. But last night really looked like the first time it had clicked. You had games where Kyrie was out and KD and Harden played, or Harden was out and KD and Kyrie played. But that was the first time I think since it all happened I've seen them, I think, click all three together, and it was against the Clippers, who are no slouch. We were in the group chat the other day, and I was like, man, the Clippers were like the Nets last year. Nobody's going to beat them. They got too many people. It's so great, and now the poor Clippers, who just wanted to be talked about, don't get talked about anymore. It's all about Brooklyn now.
The difference from what I think that you're talking about, for instance, with being a Cavs fan with LeBron on the team, for all those years. So I'm still a Cavs fan, but so the trades that we seem to talk about is like, okay, these guys don't have the chemistry yet, but you see the Cavs doing trades where, okay, you're adding Jordan Clarkson, okay, now you're adding Jay Crowder, or you're adding.
That was the day LeBron's like, give me a whole new team.
You're not talking a big star. This is already KD and Kyrie. And now you add James Harden. And so I think this is different because of such the big talent that James Harden is.
Yeah, but they're all so fucking weird and like in their own heads and like, Kyrie's like fucking, he thinks the earth's flat and he just leaves the team and says, I'm not playing because I don't want to. KD's the kind of guy that like fucking argues with people on the internet through a burner and now just publicly. And then, Harden, he didn't have like too much of a weird personality thing. I just think like he was like fat and then he wasn't fat and like he got out of there. And most of that was to get out of Houston. It's just, I don't know, man. Nobody was supposed to beat the Clippers. The Clippers were like the old Bulls last year, and they were going to walk through everybody and all the same shit that happened when Kawhi signed and the Paul George trade happened. And they blew a 3-1 lead.
Completely different.
And blowing fucking double-digit leads in the play. How is it different?
It's completely different.
They're the same team. They're just the story of this year.
What team ever has had 3 top 5 scorers?
I watched the fucking Thunder with Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden in the fucking playoffs. The only time, this is my thing. This is my thing. First, we all know that Harden's overrated.
James, you're talking James Harden in Oklahoma City, who didn't even get a name until he got to Houston. First of all, otherwise
they gave up an awful lot to get a guy without a name. Then
he was nothing like he is now.
No, he needs a stacked deck.
And James Harden is far from overrated.
He's like KD. He needs a stacked deck.
He's a top 5 scorer in the league.
I'm in Houston. I want Dwight Howard.
Kyrie's a top 5 scorer in the league, and KD is the best scorer in the league.
I'm not arguing any of that.
So then what is the point here? You don't think that there's chemistry?
You can't just roll a basketball out with those guys and go win a championship. Everybody is like now
Well, we and you have what?
Nets.
So let's discuss this on air.
Yeah.
Me and you have $100 bet, right? If it's Nets Lakers, we have $100 bet, right?
I thought it was the field, but then Tempers kind of evened out after the trade.
Hold on. But I came back with this. I said, okay, we can do the field. You can have the entire field.
Yeah, but that's too many bad outcomes for me and more good outcomes for you.
No, I'm saying you get the entire field. So when the playoffs start, you get every team except the Nets. If one of those teams win, I'll give you $100. If only the Nets win, you give me $200. And you get all those teams.
Yeah, but see, then in the end result of the bet is either me winning $100, me losing $100, or me losing $200.
Yeah, but all you got
two bad outcomes.
All you got to do is all that has to happen is the Nets have to lose.
I don't think the Nets are winning the playoff or the finals. I
Okay.
don't.
Okay.
That's not to say I guarantee the Lakers.
So the other bet was this too. Okay, if the Nets win, $100. If whoever else wins, $100. But if the Nets beat the Lakers, it's $200.
I'll do that.
All right.
But what we were like group texting about it, but now we're in person. So what happens? We make this bet, but the Lakers lose in the Western Conference Finals, or the Nets lose in the Eastern Conference Finals. If the Nets lose, do you just pay me $100 when they lose, or if the Lakers lose, do I just pay you $100 already when they lose, or do we wait for it all? Like, how does that happen?
No. So here's the way it works. Because you're getting the field. If I'm giving you the field, but you got to take the $200 bet. So if I'm giving you the field and the Nets lose, I owe you $100. If you're taking, all right. But now then you're taking, if it's Lakers and Nets, and the Nets beat the Lakers in the finals,
I would owe you $200.
You'd owe me $200.
Yeah, I'll do that. I don't give a fuck.
So you get the field, and if anyone outside of the Lakers win, oh, I'm sorry.
Anybody outside of
the Nets, you get $100.
And if the Lakers beat the Nets, do I get $100 or $200?
No, you get $100 because I'm also giving you 13 other teams.
Okay.
There's got to be an incentive for me to take only one team.
Yeah, then it's on air. It's done. We're shaking on it. It's done.
All right.
And
I'm taking the Nets. You're taking the field. The Nets beat the Lakers in the finals. It's $200.
When the Nets get fucking bounced by Philly in the playoffs, I'll take Apple Pay, Venmo, Cash App, whatever you got. I just don't buy it.
Ben Simmons from 3.
Shit, he might. No, look, they should, and I've said this to you numerous times. They should win. They should win it all just based on those three guys on the team.
Going to win it all.
And everybody said that about the Clippers last year, and the Clippers fucking laid an egg. They're the same thing.
Let's not.
They're the flavor of the year.
Please, let's not compare Kawhi Leonard, and Kawhi's great, but let's not compare Kawhi Leonard and PG-13 to...
Oh, everybody was on the Paul George train until he played in the playoffs last year. Everybody. Paul George was a top guy.
Haven't we talked about every year in the playoffs what Paul George brings?
Pandemic P, baby. Pointless P.
You're going to get the best of Kyrie. Oh, yeah, by the way.
If he shows up.
By the way.
If he's there.
By the way, and this was agreed upon before, barring a big if there's a big injury, obviously deals off.
Well, I said big injury to LeBron, AD, KD, Harden, and I'll even give you an injury to Kyrie. But if Kyrie just packs up for some fucking reason and doesn't decide to show up in the playoffs, I'm not getting penalized for that because he might.
That's fine.
He's going to smoke weed in a tent somewhere.
If Kyrie goes off to Wonderland again, it don't count because we know what we're getting in Kyrie.
But like major injuries to those guys, I think should make sense because we all know how they impact an NBA game.
Well, obviously, I'm not going to take the field if one of them's out for the season.
Yeah, that's stupid.
But now there is word too. Now there's mixed words that maybe Zach LaVine ends up in Brooklyn.
I doubt that.
And then there's mixed emotion or mixed people saying that Andre Drummond ends up in Brooklyn. I don't know. But
I could see Drummond. I don't see any way that they trade for Zach LaVine just because I don't think there's any way they could keep him with the money he wants to make beyond this year. They might be able to make it fit this year, but maybe they do go all in like that to win one. But Drummond, I still think the Cavs would be able to trade him for something rather than having to buy him out because I don't think that he can go to Brooklyn unless he's bought out and then he signs on the cheap.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And there's so many weird ways of doing
the NBA
this now.
shit's really weird.
I mean, if I was the Cavs, you got a playoff team. You know what I mean? You got a playoff team in the East. You're not going to win it, but you have a playoff team in the East. I would probably keep Drummond. But then again, the way the NBA works, when you start getting to that last year of that contract and you can trade, some of these big stars, you can end up getting picks out of, or something. So I can understand the Cavs doing that. If they're not going to extend Drummond, then you might as well trade him and get something for him. But I don't think that they're gonna keep him, because I think Jared Allen, I think that's the guy they're going to try and have there in the middle.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just don't see any. Yeah, I don't see any outcome where it would be advantageous for the Cavs to buy him out.
No, that would make no sense.
I just don't, and I don't. There's a hard cap in the NBA at some point, right?
I would think that that's not a huge possibility. I don't know how that would work, but then again, there's so much shit that can happen in the NBA. I just don't know. All I know is this: the Nets and the Beard are getting that first championship.
You're like a huge Nets fan all of a sudden.
Oh, whoa! you know why I like the Nets. You know why I like the Nets. Same reason I liked Houston.
Dude, if he gets to the foul line 85 times a game and all that, he's
Why?
a great scorer. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, he is.
But he's
a walking triple double too.
And I'm taking
assists.
No. If
he had a triple double last night.
If I'm starting a team, I'm taking Anthony Davis over him. I'm taking Kawhi over him. I'm taking LeBron over him. I'm taking Giannis over him.
If you're starting a team, you're taking LeBron over him.
Well, I'm saying this year, not.
Well, you're not. If you're
talking about players
even
in the league right now.
Even if you're starting a team this year, you're not taking LeBron over him. He's going to give you another 10 years. But LeBron going to give you maybe 3, 4.
I'm not talking. I'm saying for 1 year, guys in their current situation. Not if I'm starting a team for the future. I'm just saying if all the NBA players were in a pool this year, like a fantasy draft, there's a lot of guys.
James Harden is looked down upon you guys because of what he does to draw the foul. But that's just the NBA. That's what the NBA has done. They've made it to where you touch a guy and you fucking flinch at a guy and it's a foul. Now they take it away in the playoffs.
And all his fucking 9-step fucking fadeaways.
But they take it away in the playoffs, and to me that's kind of the unfair part, because you've given him the call all season long, and then you get in the playoffs and he's built his game around your refereeing to make his game better, and then he don't get the calls.
And so do 900 other players.
No, not like him. Not like him.
He doesn't do dick in the playoffs. I'll never forget him.
He's
Look,
recreated
they
it.
have the fucking stacked deck Warriors, the KD, the Clay, the Steph, the Draymond Warriors on the road, Game 7.
Wasn't just
and
him.
then Chris Paul gets hurt, and fucking Harden comes out and lays a fucking egg. He has never lifted a team.
Wasn't just him. What was it, 28, 29 straight missed threes? Something like that, 20-something, I think.
He was a big part of that.
Well, yeah, but not just him.
They fucking laid an egg. I've never seen Harden lift a team like. But if we want to get into that,
have you ever seen Anthony Davis lift a team?
Yeah, the Pelicans. He took them to the playoffs. Taking the Pelicans to the playoffs alone and winning a series is fucking magical. The fucking Pelicans?
Now I'm just in shock.
Pelicans?
He took the Pelicans to the playoffs, even though James Harden took the fucking Rockets to multiple Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, and then get me fucking Dwight Howard. It doesn't work out. Oh, Dwight's got to go. Okay, get me Chris Paul. Chris Paul can't get along.
You are hyping up Anthony Davis for winning a playoff series, or just getting to the playoffs, but not giving James Harden any credit for making it all the way to the Western Conference Finals.
Who else was on those teams?
I mean, there was multiple years. I mean, you had a year with Chris Paul.
He had a couple years, but that's my point with him. What leads you to believe it's for sure going to work with Kyrie and KD when he said, "Go get me Dwight Howard"? He got Dwight Howard.
Because
it didn't work. Go get me Chris
James
Paul.
Harden.
Chris Paul. It didn't work. Go get me Russell
James
Westbrook.
Harden is no longer
James
Harden is no longer the number one scorer on that team.
And how long is he going to be okay with that?
At least this year when they win it all.
I don't think he will, man. I think
they know Kevin Durant's the best player in the NBA.
Well, yeah, but why? So why is it just going to automatically work with him when it didn't work with Russ? It didn't work with Chris Paul. It didn't work with Dwight Howard. Like it didn't work with anybody.
First off, we've got to stop comparing Russell Westbrook and Chris Paul to Kevin Durant.
I'm not comparing them to him. I'm talking about James Harden's personality.
Yeah, well, you're asking why can he do this, and this with guys that he can score better than? But when you throw in Kevin Durant, he's not as good a scorer as Kevin Durant. He's probably second. I don't know. Him and Kyrie's close. Like I said, they're 3 of the top 5 scorers. but Kevin Durant is number one. He's the best scorer in the league, and I think we agree on that. 7 foot, can shoot over anybody. It's just Kevin Durant.
And he's also he's a bitch too.
He's not being asked to be the number one scorer, even though that's what James Harden does. I know that that's his game. But Kevin Durant is the one that needs the ball at the end.
And Kevin Durant is the only one that remotely plays any kind of defense out of those three.
Kevin Durant is one of the only guys. There's very few, maybe not even. Maybe on one hand is how many you can count that can actually play defense on LeBron.
KD can.
I'm not gonna go as far as say he can lock him up, but he can definitely get his stops.
No,
with
he can
his
give him
length.
problems. Yeah. He's one of the few.
And he was playing some really good defense. Was it last night against Kawhi as well?
And they don't get Drummond. Is DeAndre Jordan gonna fucking lock AD up? I doubt it.
I don't think the Nets, Clippers, or Lakers are going to. I don't think that this is going to be the team you see in the playoffs. I think they're all going to add pieces.
Short of Drummond, I don't know what other big men would be out there for Brooklyn to go.
You just never know at the bye.
And who do they got for fucking Alex Caruso? Nobody, dog. The bald mamba.
I'm not even going to respond to that.
Man, people need to put some fucking respect on Alex Caruso's name. They should, all this talent. Something tells me that it's not. Dude, Steve Nash wasn't the coach for a week, and Kyrie's already like, well, we don't really need a coach. Like, there's just so much dumb shit.
We know how dumb
there.
fucking Kyrie is. We know the way Kyrie talks. It didn't matter.
And what's he gonna do
the coach?
What's he gonna do when Harden dribbles too much and he decides he's pissed off?
Worked last night against the fucking Clippers.
Yeah, one time. But I'm telling you, when Kyrie decides that Harden's touching the ball too much, KD's already taken away Kyrie's the third guy on that team. He's unequivocally the third wheel now. How long is that going to be okay with Kyrie when he didn't want to be fucking, little brother to LeBron, when we've said on numerous occasions those two were like made to play together? How long is he going to be okay with that when he can wake up one day and be like, well, shit, I don't even think I want to play basketball anymore. I'm going to go to a party at Drake's house. Like, you can't just tell me that it's just going to work because they have those guys without looking at who those guys are. And I got smoke for KD. I'm going to let you make a point, but I got smoke for KD.
James Harden last night, triple-double. Kyrie Irving, 39 points. Kevin Durant, 11 of 13, 28 points.
And how often is that going to happen? How often are you going to get all
when
three of those guys
when you have three of the top 5 scorers in the league, that could happen a lot.
Until it's somebody fucking passed the ball to the wrong guy, or James Harden dribbled too much, or Kyrie thinks that the fucking flat earth is tilted a little bit too far. And
you don't need defense when you have that much offense.
You always need defense.
Not when you have that much offense.
And everybody said last year that the Clippers had too much defense. They didn't need offense.
Honest to
God, fucking Utah.
Honest to God, have you ever seen a team with this much scoring?
Probably not.
I mean, I think Golden State's super fucking close with the Steph and Clay and Kevin Durant.
Yeah, and when are we going to stop pretending like Kevin Durant doesn't need a stacked deck to fucking win? Because we saw Kevin Durant in the playoffs against LeBron, and he was crying to his mother by the end of the series, and he had Westbrook, and he had Harden. Harden wasn't what he was, whatever. And then he goes, and he's like, well, I got my fucking 2 ring. What did he get, 2 in Golden State?
Well, first off, Russell Westbrook's good one every, fucking 10 games.
He wasn't back then, though. Russell Westbrook was at the top of his game back then.
He just
nearing
Russell Westbrook's problem's always been turnovers.
Well, there's a whole bag of problems with Russell Westbrook. I'm just saying, KD all of a sudden goes to the Warriors, and you knew it was a weak-ass move. I knew it was a weak-ass move. Everybody said those rings were bullshit. So now what's he going to do? He's going to form a arguably better super team?
It was soft because the team had just fucking beat him. Just bounced him.
So now it's okay, and KD doesn't get any fucking smoke for this?
This is his team. It was just him and Kyrie. Now Harden's here. I mean, I'm sure he okayed it, but who's not going to okay it?
That's
Are we going to say LeBron's never needed somebody?
No, he absolutely has.
Because he went to Dwayne Wade to get a championship.
But he's never had a deck stacked like that. And when he did that to go to, and I'm not being a LeBron apologist here, but
no, you are.
When he went to Miami, he was answering the big 3 that existed in Boston.
Okay, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
LeBron definitely has needed people. I'm not saying he doesn't.
Everybody, no one as good as they are, and as good as we can say we know, and because we can say this, LeBron took multiple bad teams to the playoffs, the
Eastern
Conference Finals, to the finals. Yeah, he did, but he in the end he needed help.
Yeah, everybody needs help, but
just like to win a championship. You know, his first one had Bosh, Ray Allen, who one of the best shooters of all time, and fucking Dwayne Wade. And then he goes to Cleveland, and he's got Kyrie, and then they go get Kevin Love.
Kevin Love wasn't near the level of any of the other two guys on the Brooklyn team right now, though.
No, I would agree with that, but you still have Kyrie. You know?
Yeah, that was LeBron and Kyrie. Kyrie hit the shot, LeBron gets the block, and Love gets the stop.
And then Durant goes to Golden State, and then they run their shit
bullshit weak ass
however long, and then LeBron goes to L.A. and teams up with everyone needs.
Yeah, he had Anthony Davis, and then the third best player in that series of the finals this last year was Kentavious Caldwell-Pope.
Well,
that was the third best player.
Kevin Durant was also out for the season.
Yeah, Kevin Durant was out for the season, so I have never seen. So if they go on and win a ring, all I'm going to think is I've still never seen Kevin Durant win one without a stacked deck. I've seen LeBron win one with a stacked deck. I saw him win one in Cleveland when he took down the 73-9 Warriors. That's not a stacked deck. They had the stacked deck. I watched him come win one in LA when all he really had was AD and nobody else to step up.
All he had was AD.
Who else did they have?
No, I'm just that you know how crazy that sounds. All he had was AD, and
he doesn't have. Yeah, but AD.
You just
sitting
here
saying,
"I'll take AD over Harden. I'll take AD over this guy." And that guy and that. Come on, everyone needs help.
Everybody needs help, but he didn't have the fucking two other best scorers in the league that we're saying that he had. Nobody has had that. They had that in Golden State, and now they have it now.
So we can't. I mean, we're not going to fault them for going and get Harden. You can't fault. Hey, Harden's on the block. Let's not go get him.
But you're a fucking bitch, and you're getting stacked deck rings. That's all it is.
All that matters is come at the end of the year when the playoffs, when it hits the finals, the Lakers aren't even going to be there.
Who's going to take them out in the West?
The Clippers.
Oh, God, here we go, because they got good for a couple games again.
No, I just think that the Clippers beat them. But it doesn't matter who comes out of the West because they're losing.
I'm more worried about toenail Clippers than I am the L.A. Clippers.
Yeah, well, you should be worried about the Nets because they're gonna just like Stephen A. said, and he hit it on the nose. They're gonna coast through the East.
And they should.
They're going to coast through the East, and when they need to, just like last night, they're all going to be able to turn it on. And it doesn't matter if Kevin Durant has a bad game, or if Harden has a bad game, or if Kyrie Irving has a bad game, because you got two other top 5 scorers.
Yeah, and it shouldn't. All of the signs and all of the logic say that they should win it. I'm just not sold that group of characters is going to mesh well enough to win one when you get a midseason trade to add Harden in. I'm just not sold on it. I just don't. I think that there are the only threat to them in the East would probably.
Don't say Philly.
Miami maybe.
Miami's terrible this year.
Yeah, but like who?
There's not.
There's not a great threat. Boston, I don't know. So they should walk through the East. Don't get me wrong. They absolutely should. But that doesn't mean that they will.
They will.
Just based on the fact that those are those guys.
They're going to walk through the rest of this year.
I doubt it.
Watch.
I'm on their ass every time they lose. I'll bring my Twitter back for this shit.
They're going to, and let's not act like, Chad's this big Nets fan. You are the only. You can justify this as to why I like the Nets right now. I'm a big James Harden fan,
and you liked the Clippers last year.
Everybody rips me. No, everybody rips me, and all this and that. They're going to say, Chad, let's get it straight first. I'm a Cleveland Cavaliers fan. I want the Cavs. When the Cavs get in the playoffs and play, if they play the Nets, I'm going to be rooting for the Cavs. I'd rather have the Cavs win. But
if they lose to the Cavs in the playoffs, you owe me $150.
But with that being said, my favorite player is James Harden. So I think James Harden, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving win it all this season.
And if they do that, my perception of James Harden changes 0. My perception of Kevin Durant changes 0.
He'll have that ring. It don't matter what you think because he'll be walking around with a ring.
Then why did we get to talk so much shit about KD for his rings if it didn't matter?
As AD.
If it didn't matter, then why
he'll have as many rings as AD if he wins.
Yeah, congratulations. After playing with a fucking Dwight Howard or Chris Paul or Russell Westbrook and all the other good teams that they had.
Dwight Howard.
Dwight was at the top of his game when they signed him.
Oh, stop. In Houston,
Was he not?
Dwight Howard's at the top of his game.
He just left the Lakers. The Lakers gave up everything for him. He didn't resign. He went straight
He
to
was
Houston.
shit when he got to L.A.
He went straight to Houston.
But
that
he was
supposed
shit
to
when
work.
he got to L.A.
Okay.
He hasn't worked. He hasn't. Last year it worked, but he hasn't been shit until he's back in Orlando. Orlando was the last time he was any good.
But
When he got to L.A., he was shit. That's why you
Harden
guys
said
didn't
make
keep
it
him around.
happen. Harden said make it happen. They got Harden as guy, and it still didn't work. And then he wanted Chris Paul, and he got Chris Paul, and it still didn't work. And then he said, get me Westbrook, and he got Westbrook, and it didn't work. So there's something.
I don't know if he signed off on any of that.
You think Harden
I
didn't
don't
sign
know.
off on anything?
I don't
that
know.
happened in
I don't
Houston?
know because of how bad it ended.
I guarantee he did.
If he's signing off on all that, and he's the one making those trades, he's the one giving the okay to make those trades. Why did it get so nasty?
It got so nasty because they realized that so Westbrook wanted out. He wanted gone. It wasn't working for whatever reason.
Westbrook don't really, as you can tell, he don't really work with anybody.
No, because Westbrook's a fucking asshole.
I think it's his game too.
But he's also he's always just screaming at someone.
Why we're talking about Westbrook for a minute? I was being told in our group chat that Russell Westbrook was better than James Harden, and I wanted to blow my fucking brains out.
Right now, no.
Brains out.
Right now, no.
Last year,
I don't
no.
think I was on that train.
2 years ago, no. 3 years ago, no.
No, I think it's been probably 3 or 4 years since you could make that argument. That wasn't me. I don't think I was on that.
What's
train.
up, T-Roy?
Oh, it was Troy. It was, but he's into some exotic shit, you know.
Let's stop talking about
really,
the 2021 NBA champions, the Brooklyn Nets.
Jesus
and let's
Christ.
move on to our next topic here. Your Bengals, okay?
I'm wearing my Mike Clown shirt. I know you guys can't see it, but I got a shirt of Mike Brown with a clown nose.
They have the fifth
LFG
pick.
Cincy.
They have the fifth pick in the NFL draft, and we've talked on this, so we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. The fifth pick, sum up what needs to happen here.
Well, I mean, first off, they need to address their line in free agency.
Right.
And that would impact what you did in the draft. But most of the topics that we're seeing as of late are saying some people are seeing Penny Sewell going as high as number 2. And that's been obviously the guy that Bengals fans and like myself have been calling for. And that's where it starts to get interesting because out of nowhere, all of a sudden, Rashawn Slater is getting all this hype, the tackle out of Northwestern, to the point where people are talking about should he be taken over Sewell, and I don't really understand that.
Smokescreen.
I out of nowhere, and there's a few guys like Daniel Jeremiah and a couple others that have been on the Slater train consistently all year, but broad spectrum, I didn't hear about Slater until like a week ago. And I just don't understand why he's sliding up. But what the Bengals don't need to do is freak out and reach and draft him at 5 because Sewell was gone, because that's how you get a Billy Price. They wanted Hank Ragnow, who's a badass center in Detroit. He was gone. They panicked. They took Billy Price. Billy Price fucking sucks. First and foremost, I think they should spend as much money as possible and get as much top-tier offensive line talent as possible, and I'm still working the Joe Thuney angle. I am now connected to a gentleman who's friends with somebody that is married to Joe Thuney's
if this don't
brother.
go through, our podcast is just going to fucking be shit.
I mean, are we that good anyway? But I didn't get any intel from him or anything. He didn't tell me which way, yes or no, but he said that he could find some shit out for me. But I think Taylor Motton's one of the higher rated offensive tackle free agents that are going to be out there. So if let's say that they sign Thuney, they sign Motton or another solid left tackle, they kick Jonah to right tackle, they send Bobby Hart to fucking Sweden. Anytime I talk about Bobby Hart, I like to talk about trading him to a different country. So let's say they do that. They're going to have to address the center situation with Hopkins being out. So let's say that they do that. Let's say that before the draft, the Bengals have done enough in the fans' eyes, or your eyes as a non-fan, whoever, to say, okay, they've done enough to address their offensive line to protect Joe Burrow. Let's say they do, and then even if they have, I say they still take Sewell. I think probably by the time free agent signings are being done, most teams know whether or not they really have a shot at a guy. It's the draft. Anything can happen. But I think most teams move forward with their free agency with a pretty solid general feeling of if they're going to be able to get a guy at their draft position.
So I'm going to go back a little bit because me and you agree that they need to spend in free agency and they need to spend on the offensive line. We were talking about this a few days ago. So I started looking. I was like, what offensive linemen are out there? And to get one of these left tackles would be, in my opinion, not so smart because a lot of them are older. So Trent Williams is probably one of the top left tackles out there, but he's older. He's
not coming anyway.
He's going to want to go to a contender, but so like Trent Williams, Russell Okung, Villanueva from the Steelers is going to be out there, but he just had his worst year, and we just seen what Carl Lawson did to him.
Yeah, he was bad.
The guy you mentioned might be the best left tackle, but
that's not great.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how good he is. So I don't know if I'm really sold on one of those guys over Jonah Williams, who I don't think is that great at left tackle. So with that being said, I think at 5 you have to hope Penny Sewell's there. Now when we talk about guards, you do have guys like Joe Tooney and Brandon Sharif.
Sharif scares me, but
you do got like Corey Linsley from the Packers.
I like Corey Linsley.
Alex Mack's older; he's a center. So there's guards out there, but I don't see the tackle that you really need. I think these teams aren't letting these good left tackles walk.
Yeah, absolutely.
A team like you don't see the top guys released. You would never see like an Andrew Whitworth released. It just doesn't happen.
They should have fucking paid him. Why'd you gotta bring that shit up, man? I got banned from Twitter that day.
So that was a joke. I had to throw that in there. But
fucking dick.
I think they have to go left tackle. But with that being said, I'm with you. If Penny Sewell's gone at 4, you cannot reach for this kid out of Northwestern just because he blocked Chase Young.
I watched a lot of people block Chase Young up.
You cannot do it. This is smoke in my opinion. This is all smoke in my opinion, hyping it up, trying to get
his agent,
Sewell to drop because in my opinion, Sewell's, an Andrew Whitworth or Joe Thomas. I think this guy has Hall of Fame written all over him, and I could be completely wrong, but I think this guy's that good.
He's been getting Anthony Munoz comparisons.
So
the only Hall of Famer.
So I don't know, man. I was thinking about this. I'm not sure that there's the left tackle in free agency. I'm not sure that. Here's what I would do. Okay. So you don't get a left tackle in free agency. You're at 5. Sewell's not there. I'm not reaching. I'm going to try and get my left tackle in the second.
You can find him there.
I'm just going to try to because now I can't. I'm not taking this kid out of Northwestern over Kyle Pitts. I'm not doing it. I'm big on Kyle Pitts. I've said for 2 years now that Joe Burrow would be good with a really good tight end, and Kyle Pitts is that good.
I've been looking into him, though. I got some issues with him. I got some issues with Pitts.
So at 5 for the Bengals, I think the best thing is Sewell's there, and that's the pick.
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously. If Sewell's there should be no conversation. There should be no discussion. It should just be turning in your draft card. The clock doesn't hit 4 minutes or, whatever the time. I think it might be 10 minutes the first pick, so it doesn't hit 9 minutes. That's far and away the no-brainer. You do it no matter what. But the interesting thing is these are just mocks. These might be smokescreen. There are quite a few that I've seen that have Sewell going anywhere from the 2 to 4 range, though. Mm-hmm. Because if let's say the Jets decide that they want to stick this out with Sam Darnold.
Well, they just got Becton.
Yeah, on the right side.
I thought he's playing. I thought he plays left tackle.
No, I'm pretty sure Becton plays on the right, and then they have Sewell on the left as the building block. Whether they keep Sam Darnold after this year or not, that's a hell of a building block for whoever you go get next. Mm-hmm. But do they fall in love with Justin Fields or Zach Wilson and decide to move on?
Well, what if somehow they get Watson, and they want a left tackle,
Well, somehow they get Watson, that second pick's going to be gone.
Micah Becton is indeed a left tackle.
Really? I thought he was on the right. Well, I guess that would depend on where Sewell would play. If he could.
Unless you can move him to the right side.
Or if Becton could play to the right. I don't know. But, I mean, if they get Deshaun Watson, that second pick's gone. It's going to Houston.
Yeah,
so,
well, that's true, too.
That wouldn't even be part of the discussion. But so let's say Sewell's gone. They've done, the best they could in free agency or whatever. I like Pitts. Pitts had a huge year in a shortened season this year. But, dude, he cannot block for shit. He lined up in the slot. He lined up outside. He did all that stuff. But, dude, he can't block worth a shit.
One thing, and I'm just going to use a Browns reference here, but when David Njoku came into the league, he couldn't block for shit neither.
But was he a pick at 5?
No, I mean he was in the late first. But I'm just to compare, he couldn't block for shit, and then he got with this Stefanski and his tight ends coach, and now he can block. So I think that I think that can be added into there, and
we can't assume coaching's going to be good.
Yeah, but listen, you don't want to not take the guy because he can't block, because you're not with the Bengals. You're not going to see a lot of heavy formations anyer. You're going to see a lot more shotgun. So all he's really doing is helping the right side or helping the left side to, a bump and release. Not there shouldn't be a whole lot of times anyway.
But CJ Uzomah can do that.
Yeah, but you can bring him in for those plays. You can bring him in for those plays. Kyle Pitts is rare, man. He's a fucking hell of a tight end. Is he even a tight end? That was the thing. I mean, he might be a fucking receiver. He's so good.
Yeah, and if he's a receiver, don't draft him. Draft a receiver. Draft Jamar Chase.
I think he's coming in as
he's coming in as a tight end. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know how.
Reminds me out of that guy out of Michigan. Who was the Funchess?
Yeah, and he sucks now.
Well, I'm not saying that's the comparison. I'm saying
body type.
The body type. Funchess ended up never playing tight end. It was always receiver. Maybe he should have stayed at tight end, which would be another.
Well, he sat out this year too. He would have had Aaron Rodgers this year, so who knows? But I was really, really on the no receiver at 5 thing. And
dude, if they take a receiver at 5, I'm going to laugh so hard.
I am on the no Devontae Smith at all train. But I don't – if they've addressed the line as best they can in free agency, Sewell's not there. You're not sold that Pitts can be like a true tight end. I mean, what do you do at that point? I just don't –
and I said this, and I said this also, in our
plus,
chat
we might sign
ago.
Zach Ertz.
There are so much bigger holes on the Bengals than a receiver. The defense, I'm
not sure that receiver room's all that good.
The defensive line, you need an edge rusher. It looks like you're going to be out on William Jackson III, and who knows what happens with Mackenzie Alexander. So it looks like you're going to need a corner. I think you still need linebackers. Like I said, the whole entire defensive line. You need an offensive line. The one spot that, obviously you're not going to go running back. You don't need it. Unless it's in the later round, just because that's how running back work. I don't think you need a receiver. And I know some people are going to say, okay, let's do best player available. Take the best player available. If it's Chase on, then take him. I disagree. There's just too many holes to be adding at an already good position to just load it up and then keep suffering on the other.
I don't think the wide receiver room's all that good.
Man, you got
Higgins and Boyd. That's it.
You got Higgins and Boyd.
That's it.
Yeah,
2 receivers. With the way that the Bengals were running it, we bitched about the 5 wide.
Well, you never know what you're going to get out of. And not only that,
Ontae's going to get hurt.
And not only that, if you have 2 receivers, you can get a receiver in a later round. You can get
not Burrow's best friend from college, number 1 receiver from college.
Who gives a fuck if it's his fucking wife and she knows how to play fucking. I don't give a shit.
His
you don't
girlfriend's
need a fucking receiver. There's way too many holes.
But who's the defensive lineman you justify taking at 5? The best edge rusher right now that I've been seeing is Kwity Paye from Michigan. And
I haven't looked deep. Looked deep into it yet. I'm just saying, at 5, there's going to be plenty of players available. Plenty. There's going to be a run on these quarterbacks. Lawrence is gone. You're probably going to have. Fields gone too.
Yeah,
at least 3
Wilson.
there. So
maybe Wilson.
Wilson probably. I mean, there's going to be a run on the quarterbacks like always. There's going to be they're going to have their pick of the litter outside of quarterbacks sitting right there.
But if Sewell's gone, we already said you can't reach. So what are they going to address on the offensive line at 5?
Well, I'm not just saying offense. What I'm saying now is you don't need to take a receiver.
Do you then turn to like a Patrick Surtain Jr. at corner at 5? Maybe.
I mean, like I said, there's so many holes where receivers just dumb to me because, like I said, later in the draft, if that's where you want to get another receiver, or later in free agency, there's going to be so many players available.
There's not that many good receivers in free agency. We talked about it, I think, on the last.
This
episode.
draft is loaded with receivers, though.
You could slide in there. But I'm just, if Sewell's gone, there's not really any pick right there that I'm absolutely sold on.
Not with Jonah Williams. I mean, I would like to know the Bengals' thinking of Jonah Williams. Obviously we'll never know, but I wonder if they think like we think Jonah can play left, or okay, we need to get Jonah back to the right side. I would like to know what they were thinking.
Well,
because if they think Jonah Williams is going forward, then that's hard telling where they go.
Gladly, I think we have a much better offensive line coach and run game coordinator to either help Jonah play the left side like he should, or to be smart enough to be like, I think I could put him on the right and be better, and then Bobby Hart is fucking gone and we ship him to Kuwait. I think that the offensive line is in a much better coaching place than it was. I don't think anybody ever thought Jim Turner should have had that job. I'm not going to hold, playing or coaching the Jets against Frank Pollock for, a year or two. So I mean that's the thing with this 5th pick. It's really tricky. They don't need a quarterback. That they need the left tackle. If he's there, I think it's a no-brainer. You take him, you kick Jonah to the right side, and you move on. But if he's not there, I can be okay with a Pitts pick. I'm not fully sold on it. I can be okay with a Jamar Chase pick. I'm not fully sold on it. I'm not at all sold on taking an edge rusher like a Kwity Paye at 5. As a Michigan fan, I don't know of any defensive tackle prospects that are dominating anything. You're getting Reader back as it is. There's not a lock solid, I am completely sold pick right there, which is another reason why I wouldn't be mad if they traded back and got a few more picks.
Yeah, I think that's a good option too.
What can you pick up a second, a third round?
Like I said earlier, there's so many holes to where dropping back, however many, 5, 10 spots and getting extra picks.
I wouldn't be mad at that at all.
Too. Yeah, if as long as Sewell's gone, if Sewell's your guy and he's not there at 5, and you're like, fuck, let's regroup. Somebody's going to want to trade up for one of them quarterbacks. You're sitting right there at 5 where it could happen. Trade back, get more picks,
and
fill more holes.
I wouldn't be mad at that at all. Just with the holes that they have to fill, but
just for the record, if it is a receiver, I think Devontae Smith is the best receiver. But
here's my thing on Devontae Smith. Jamar Chase had his amazing breakout season at 19 years old. Devontae Smith didn't have his till 23. I think Chase is more explosive.
Has also sat out this year, so how much rust is there or whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, you always have that to work with. I think that if they do go receiver, I think they'll go with the younger guy that Burrow's familiar with. They're going to try to appease him.
Yeah, they will. But
if that's the way they go, but all of this
after what Devontae Smith just did and winning the Heisman and all that, I think he's the best receiver in the draft.
He's already 23 though. He's getting old. All of this is of course based on if Penei Sewell's gone. If Penei Sewell's gone, there should be no discussion. But I don't know. Nothing.
We agree with that. 5 Sewell.
Nothing's really going to sell me at 5 if Sewell's gone. I just there's nothing there. I think I could get on board with a Pitts pick. I am more likely to get on board with a receiver now than I was 2 weeks ago, just after looking at some things. But I definitely I don't know. I don't want to reach. I don't want to reach for Slater. I know that for sure. I think you just you fuck yourself. You Billy Price yourself. So that's my thoughts on that. Obviously, free agency is going to have a big impact on that, but a guy like Tooney can play tackle. Is he going to sign to be a tackle? Probably not.
Don't do that.
Well, he lined up at tackle pretty frequently for New England, but he's not a left tackle, so you would assume
all-pro guard.
And you keep and I'm okay with rolling into the right guard being Quentin Spain next year. I saw enough from him midseason. If they re-sign him, he could stay. So I don't know. Plenty of stuff to look at there. We got plenty of time before the draft comes up to get into the rest of it. Those are just my initial thoughts on it as I see things right now.
So next up, my team. Okay, the only reason we were talking about this is because of the whole Twitter going crazy about Baker for Watson. Would the Texans do it? Do Browns fan? And then Baker responded and said, pretty much Baker's all about loyalty. We know about this, and said something about so-called Browns or something. So it brought up the discussion of, is Baker Mayfield a top 10 quarterback after this year?
Dude, and you brought up the Twitter thing. I have been like barely on Twitter, limiting my Facebook lately. It's been so fucking refreshing and freeing. So I haven't seen a lot of this, but I did see Baker's quote. So is Baker a top 10 quarterback in the NFL right now?
Right.
He gets so much shit, and we've talked about that.
Did you see when Josh Allen threw that ball at was it at the Chiefs, dude? Can you imagine if Baker would have done that?
Oh, yeah. to start the fight that happened afterward, yeah, that would have been – he would have been dragged. But if I'm coming off of –
this year.
Last year – now – this current year. Are we saying
you can even use the older guys? So this isn't.
Okay, that's what I was getting ready to ask.
This isn't how are you building your team? Because I think definitely if you're building your team now and you're taking out a lot of the older guys, I think a lot of people's taking Baker top 10 because you're cutting out your Breeze and Rodgers and you know what I mean. So
Breeze, who's overrated
right now, is Baker a top 10? This season was Baker a top 10 quarterback?
I'm going to tell you guys this season that I would take in order to play for my team, not for the future. No, this year, like we said, I'm going Mahomes. I'm going Aaron Rodgers. I'm going Tom Brady. I'm going Josh Allen.
Russell Wilson.
I'm going Russell Wilson. I'm going Kyler Murray.
Deshaun Watson
is going to be there. Watson is there, who even though I think Watson is a little bit overrated, but not super overrated. So what am I at? 5, 6, 7, and that's where it really starts getting kind of muddy.
Yeah, I think
right there is where Baker could find his way into those 3 slots, and I wouldn't die on a hill to argue over it.
Yeah, see, so I do think Baker's a top 10 quarterback, but I'm a Browns fan. I could be a little biased. Or a lot biased. So I'm definitely taking Pat Mahomes, definitely taking Russell Wilson, taking Tom Brady, taking Aaron Rodgers, taking Deshaun Watson, taking Josh Allen. Those are the 7. And then I'm not arguing with a whole lot of people. Now I was on Twitter and I refrained myself because I keep being told that Carson Wentz is better than Baker Mayfield. And
how did you didn't get banned again?
No. Well, no. I stopped talking. So the thing was this, though. So here's the thing that gets me, and here's the funny part. And I didn't even bring it up because, I'm mellowing myself out, man. You know what I mean? So I'm not arguing with
that next band's gonna be longer.
I just said, I'm just not arguing with ignorance because it's the same people. It's the same people that said after Baker's bad season last year how bad Baker was coming off of his great rookie season. And then this year was great. So Baker's also had only one bad season under bad coaching. So I said, yes, he's better than Carson Wentz. No. Carson Wentz just had bad coaching. So you were shooting
the guy that won the Super Bowl was bad coaching?
You exactly.
Doug Peterson, who won a Super Bowl.
Exactly, a Super Bowl coach. So you don't want they don't want the shots at, they don't want the shots at Carson Wentz for having a bad year, but the second Baker Mayfield has a bad year, he's terrible. It's not coaching, it's not this, it's not that. So I didn't get in that discussions. We all know based off this season Baker Mayfield is a better quarterback than Carson Wentz. To me there's no debate, not even going to get in that argument. So, back to my spot here. So, I am taking the same guys you're taking over Baker Mayfield, Deshaun Watson being one of them. I'm not having Kyler in there yet. Now Kyler started the season almost in an MVP type year.
They did implode a little bit.
But yeah, and then it got real bad. They didn't even make the playoffs.
Baker got better.
Yeah.
The Browns got better.
Right. Baker got better. Kyler to me got worse. I think at one point they were like 7-3, 7-4. They should have been in the playoffs and didn't even make the playoffs.
That's true.
So I'm not going that far. Now, if you want to argue with me that Kyler's better than Baker, whatever. If you want to have that argument,
it wouldn't hurt my feelings.
I do think guys like Derek Carr.
No,
I'm just saying if they want to argue that, Matt Ryan. I think Matt Ryan's up there. He's had a good career. He had a lot of yards this year. It's just, I don't know.
When your team,
if you want to say Matt Ryan, whatever.
What about Matt Stafford?
No.
We'll get to him in a minute.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot. Dude, what is people jerking off about this shit for?
Hold on, let's finish this. We'll get to that. We're going to talk about that trade anyway.
Baker's a top 10 quarterback. That's all I got to say.
I would have to really sit down and look.
What about let's do this real quick. AFC North. Where's Baker in the AFC North to you? Of the four.
Oh.
How's the list go?
Based off what we saw last year, I think he's the best.
So I go Baker 1. For two, I want to go Burrow just because he can throw the ball.
We didn't see enough of him.
But I didn't see enough of him. It's like saying Herbert. I haven't seen enough from Herbert yet. If Herbert does that again, I would probably, and Baker, so if the two have the same kind of identical seasons next year, I would say Herbert was probably better than Baker.
Yeah, if he does it second.
If he does it again, he did it one. Now the
tape's
on
got a new
you.
Coach,
everybody has that. A lot of people have that sophomore slump.
Yeah.
So, if even if you want to argue Herbert, whatever. So right now going into next season, I'm going Baker. I'm going Lamar. Just
I was going to say that too. He can't fucking throw, but
I know he can't throw.
The way his team is, quarterback
it's built around him.
Yeah, for his
it's
team,
tough.
Yeah.
I'm going Burrow third going into next season, and then whatever the Steelers do, even if it's Ben there. Like I said, I'm off that train. I think Ben's done. I don't think that he's playing 17 weeks and then going into the playoffs anymore. I don't see it.
No, we saw that 11-0 and they lied.
Yeah, so that's the way I'm going now. But with that being said, by the end of next year, Burrow could be at the top.
I fucking hope so.
He could be second. We don't know yet. We haven't. What do you play? 7, 8 games?
7.5 games.
Yeah, so we just haven't seen enough yet. But that's the way I'm going. I think Baker is a top 10 quarterback.
Like I said, I could maybe sit down and edge him out of my top
I think
10.
If you had him from 7 to like fucking 13 or whatever, I'm not going to argue those last 6 people.
But he has a chance to, if he does this again next year, to really shoot up that, because if you get the guy that you got the second half of the season out of Baker Mayfield again next year, he's going to move up to that. But right now, if you told me he was in your top 10, I wouldn't argue with you. I could maybe edge him out a little bit, but probably not if I really, really sat down and looked at it. But to call him top 10 right now is not anything that I would argue. Just based off what I saw. He didn't start out that way, but from what I saw, the total body of work this season, he is.
Yeah, and another thing and we'll get into this maybe next week, but we kept sometimes we penalize guys because they have a run game. For instance, we talked about, would we take Ben Roethlisberger or would we take Drew Brees? Who would we take over the other? I said Ben Roethlisberger because, I know Brees has thrown more. He has the better stats. But Ben has also had a run game, and this kind of goes back to this,
and good defenses,
right? And good
but he's
defenses,
got 2 Super Bowls,
right, to be able to run the ball. Baker's in that same boat. Baker's not going to have the yards as like the top guys because he's they're running for fucking 2,000 yards. So
that can depend on how your team's built, but with the way the Browns are currently constructed and run, you don't want him to have those yards.
No, but he showed that he can also make the throws.
Yeah, I think that he.
And that was the point with Ben. In my opinion, Ben has probably the best throw of all time. Back of the end zone to Santonio Holmes. Only where Santonio Holmes can get it and win the Super Bowl.
God, I was jumping up and down when Larry Fitzgerald scored that long touchdown for the Cardinals because I wanted Pittsburgh to lose so bad.
Yeah,
I
saw
it was
a great throw.
I saw that throw on Instagram the other day. They've been showing like Super Bowl highlights and shit. And I was like, God, dude, that is one of, if not maybe the best throw.
From what I can, obviously you got the Tyree catch. You got a lot of catches.
Dude, that was a terrible throw. But it was a terrible decision.
Well, yeah, that would be a better catch,
that was
not
a catch,
throw.
Yeah.
But in the moment, I can't think of a better throw than that throw by Roethlisberger.
Right in the back corner of the end zone, that motherfucker.
Toe tat, boom, touchdown.
Well, that's when Ben was still drinking beer and watching porn.
Yeah.
He fucked himself.
Yeah, but like I said, back to the point, we can't take away from what Ben did over his whole career because he's had a run game.
No. I think most good NFL teams have a good run game if they get to the chance to win 2 Super Bowls. Now things are evolving more. The Chiefs don't have all that great of a run game.
No, they don't have a great run game.
You know what I mean? But but
they have Mahomes that can make up for everything.
There's teams that can do it, but overall, generally speaking, through the trajectory of Breeze and Ben's careers, running games were greatly important, so I'm not going to penalize him for that. I fucking hate Ben Roethlisberger, don't get me wrong. One of the highlights of my life was being at the stadium while people were throwing beer cans at him while they carted him off. I thought that was fucking awesome. But realistic football fan speaking, I would definitely take him over Breeze because he's got 2 Super Bowls. If you told me I could have had Drew Brees' career or Roethlisberger's career on the Bengals that I watched with stripes on their helmet, give me the guy that got me 2 Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. It just is what it is.
So let's go to the guy that we almost jumped on, but we didn't get into it because we want to save it for now. Matt Stafford.
What the fuck?
Traded from the Detroit Lions to the Los Angeles Rams. In return, the Lions get Jared Goff and 2 first-round picks.
And a third, right?
And a third-round pick. So,
dude, Detroit is gangster as fuck because they rob people.
This is where I almost wish you and I didn't agree because there's a lot of people out there.
It would be a good argument.
There's a lot of people out there that disagree with us.
Open invitation to anybody who disagrees with us on Matt Stafford for next week.
So there, for some reason, Twitter's going crazy, and now the Rams are the team to beat because Matthew Stafford got out of the situation he was in Detroit Lions, and he never had a good front office. He never had this. He never had that.
He only had Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, and now they're the best team in the NFC next year. So your initial thought, and obviously we can tell, but what do you make of this?
When I first saw that trade, I was like, no fucking way. Like, there's no way Detroit got away with this. You want to talk about Detroit's front office sucking? They just robbed the Rams. They look like fucking geniuses. They got the better quarterback out of the deal.
See, you're gonna get shit for that.
I don't care. My Twitter notifications are turned off. I don't give a fuck. No, dude. Like, what the fuck? Look at I don't have it in front of me, but I know that Matt Stafford's record against teams that are above 500 is terrible.
Terrible.
Like.
Also, Matt Stafford's all-time record, 68, 78, and 1. But if you ask everybody, none of this is his fault.
Come on, man. It's like you were saying in the group chat. He had playoff teams, and they're like, well, those teams weren't good. Well, they were good enough to make the playoffs.
Right.
And he never 12 years, no playoff wins. Andy Dalton started getting dragged after year 4, if not earlier, for not having playoff wins. Like, come on. Like, dude, does Sean McVay just never want to have to work draft night?
Yeah, I don't know.
They never have first-round picks. They're always trading them away.
Is it him?
I think he's got a pretty strong say in how shit goes there.
Over the last 3 years, Jared Goff, over 13,000 passing yards. Matthew Stafford, a little over 10,000 passing yards. So over the last 3 years, Jared Goff has more passing yards. Over the last 3 years, Jared Goff, 74 touchdowns. Matt Stafford, 66 touchdowns. Over the last 3 years, Jared Goff, 3 playoff wins and a Super Bowl appearance.
Yeah, he got him there.
Over his entire career, Matthew Stafford, 0 playoff wins.
0.
But they just keep telling me that this is what I keep being told, that
that's your answer to the stat guy.
That's to the stat guys. Because
that's the biggest argument I've heard for Stafford is
because
stats
you and I
numbers.
are eye tests. Like, do you pass the eye test?
Like, stats matter, but they're not the end all be all.
Like we said, if you can run the ball and do other things, play defense, it doesn't matter. And we're saying that with a better defense and with the Rams have had.
And they had Todd Gurley for a while, a run game.
Yeah. So
some of that was off of Goff, and he still has the numbers.
So I'm lost with this. I don't get the love with Matt Stafford. I'm not big on this trade. Like you said, I think Detroit robbed the Rams. Could I be wrong? I guess I could.
Oh, if you're a Lions fan, you should be over the moon right now.
I know one thing. There's no more excuses for Matt Stafford.
Zero.
I'll tell you this. Jared Goff has never played with Megatron. Jared Goff has never been able to throw it up to a receiver of that caliber.
He's had Cooper Kupp and Brandon Cooks.
And Robert Woods.
For a minute.
And that's the thing. They're like, oh, my God, he's going to go play with Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. And
Robert Woods is still a thing?
He's actually pretty good. But
I didn't know that.
So he's going to go play with Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, and Tyler Higbee. And I'm like, is that much better than Kenny Golladay, Marvin Jones, and T.J. Hawkinson?
Calvin Johnson?
Well, I'm just talking about for now.
Oh, for now.
And they're like, oh, he also gets Cam Akers. Well. What about DeAndre Swift?
Yeah, Cam Akers is
obviously the Rams' defense is better. I just personally, there's no more excuses. I mean, what's going to be an excuse now? Oh, he didn't do this. The dude has had now. I'll give it to him. He's all heart, but now he's starting to get injured some. But the eye test has never passed for me. Obviously, the stats are there, but over the last 3 years, Goff has better numbers. To me, this is highway robbery. Detroit wins that trade.
Oh, dude, it is complete highway robbery. And Troy, the Rams fan of our little group.
And I get it with him.
And I've done it. You've done it. Everybody that is a fan has done it. A move has been made. A draft pick has been made. A trade's been made. And you're like, okay, yeah. And you make yourself believe in it. It's natural. You're a fan. Well, it's short for fanatic.
No, there's some people out there who just believe the stats. It's all about the stats. If you have the stats and you can put up 4,000 yards, a year. They look past the fucking interceptions. They look past the win-loss records. Like, there's some people that it's all about the stats.
Yeah.
Not me.
No, because quarterback's the most important position on the field. And, dude, like, Tom Brady has won with nobodies. Like, nobody's catching the ball. Peyton Manning won with Anthony Gonzalez's and Austin Collie. Oh, dude, Austin Collie. Mm-hmm. And Wes Welker, is as good as he was when he left Brady, he went to Manning. He wasn't all that good. Now he started like doing Molly and shit a lot, but that might have fucked with him. But no, dude, stats matter, but they don't. They're not the end all be all for me, like the analytics world or whatever.
The stat people will say when the wins and losses isn't a quarterback stat. So apparently, if you can put up 4,000 yards, touchdowns, but you continuously throw interceptions in pivotal moments, you're still a good quarterback.
Well, that's another thing too.
If that's the case, I guess Andy Dalton's one of the greatest.
Yeah, no shit.
Right? Because he has the numbers, but he just didn't show up when the game mattered.
Yeah, ever.
but
this year
but
if
you're going by the stats, they will tell you. The stat people will tell you he's not as bad as you guys say. But whatever. You got to win games for me, man.
Yeah,
I'm a Browns fan. You know what I mean? I've never seen good quarterbacks, but you got to win some games. That's your job as a quarterback.
Yeah,
I know it's your job as a team too, but
yeah.
So bringing us to our next subject, another quarterback out there, Matt Stafford. It cost him a quarterback in the middle of his prime and 2 first-round picks. What the fuck are you got to give up for Deshaun Watson?
Yeah.
This dude's going to have like 7 first-round picks.
I've seen some people say that for whatever reason this isn't going to set a precedent in the trade. And if I'm Houston, I'm saying bullshit. It certainly does. Because I can be like, that's the offer you're giving me for Deshaun Watson at 25, at or entering his prime? And Matt Stafford just got 2 firsts, a good quarterback, and a third, and you're going to offer me 2 first-rounders? Get the fuck out of here. I think it does set a precedent. I think Watson moving, you're going to see a minimum of 3 first-rounders. A minimum of 3 first-rounders, and that's if they probably throw in some other things. Like I know they want some defensive guys, is what they've been saying. Okay,
so I got this question. We know it's going to cost an arm and a leg to get Deshaun Watson from the Texans, and it looks like Deshaun Watson's going to be moved. Who's going to go get him? Who is maybe a surprise team where you're like, all right, watch out? Let me go first on this one. So I think ultimately he ends up in Miami. I think Miami does have the ammunition The second team I would say would be the Saints. The
Saints are $100 million over the salary cap.
Yeah,
right
but I don't know. I know people will say though they can't do it with that, but it seems like you can always make something happen with moving pieces or whatnot.
Yeah, but $100 million worth.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Breeze is falling off the books, or or
I think part of the problem is he's on the books for next year, even if he retires somehow, like his contract is written.
So I never take that into play. Look what the Chiefs done. I mean,
yeah,
they had what Steelers have done for years.
They had like $100 in cap space, then they re-signed Kelsey, re-signed Mahomes.
Right. So I think it's Miami. Now I don't know why I don't know why the Texans would jump on Tua. I think I don't know. I would try and get a 3-way trade and get another pick out of Tua to a team that wanted him. Get a bunch of first-round picks.
You don't see a lot of 3-ways in the NFL.
Yeah, no, but
they can happen.
I just think there will be a team that would jump on Tua.
Why?
But with them getting that third pick and getting their pick back from the Dolphins, I think that could be your quarterback with your picks.
Well,
the team that I say watch out for, and you know how much this burns me to say, but I have said this for weeks now, ever since this shit came out. And it's the same thing as the Saints. They're over the cap. They don't have the money. They don't got this. They don't got that. Watch out for the fucking Pittsburgh Steelers.
I don't think so.
Watch out for this. Just seems like such a Pittsburgh move that could be made, even if it's given up a. I think I seen something they'd have to give up to it, which is okay. So say you give up to it and Minka, or say you give up to it and TJ plus picks to get Watson, but you get a top 5 quarterback. So it makes sense.
Are you talking about the possibility?
No, because JJ's gone.
2 goddamn Watt brothers on the same team?
There's already 2 in Pittsburgh. One just don't get talked about. He's a fullback.
Well, fuck Derek too, but I'm talking about the 2 most insufferable motherfuckers in sports.
That's what I'm saying.
They're talking about JJ leaving, but if TJ gets traded there, is he going to leave?
Right.
Dude, I will have a goddamn brain aneurysm if I have to watch a football game where TJ Watt and JJ Watt are on the same team. It was already hard enough to watch when they were playing each other. So shoot me in the fucking head.
So say the Texans are like, all right, well, we lost Watt, we're getting another Watt. So say this. Say the Texans get to it, the defensive player of their choosing, and 2 or 3 first-round picks, and they get Deshaun Watson. I would hate it, but I don't know. Something in the gut tells me watch out for Pittsburgh. They're not out of this.
Those are a lot of really good points, and as I've said before, if they're trading for a Minka or a TJ Watt or both, I think that they would have to establish with their agent that they would re-sign there because both of their deals end at the end of this year. But assuming they will, it could get done. But I don't think Pittsburgh's going to do that to Ben.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that they know he's at the end. I think they know he's
you're
at
not
the
going
end.
forward with Mason Rudolph, so you got to figure something out here. And if they keep it with Ben.
Ben's a whiny bitch.
They're not winning the division next year.
No. But
they're the only team that I think could possibly be on the decline.
That organization, though, and what Ben has meant to them since 2005, we're talking 16 years. I just don't think that they let his exit from Pittsburgh be so unceremonious that they're bringing in another quarterback.
Yeah, but what if they talk that out? What if they're like, Ben, listen, hey, we can get Deshaun Watson. I think Ben Roethlisberger understands that.
No, he doesn't.
Dude, I think he does.
That dude's a fucking sociopath.
I think he's playing a year. I think he knows he's playing one more year. I think this is his last year. But I think if they come to him, hey, we can get Deshaun Watson, let's work on a buyout. And I think that could possibly happen.
I'm going to say, fuck you. Yeah, you owe me $41 million, but you can go get this guy. So you want me to take 10?
But he can he can leave and get 22 or something.
Yeah, but still, that's $22 million against the cap that they're in, and we know you.
I know it don't make a lot of sense. I just have this gut feeling like watch out because it makes too much sense, and that could just be me worrying. Sean Watson comes to the AFC North. Fuck,
that would suck. I would prefer he goes to the NFC.
Yeah, I say go to fucking the 49ers.
I think the team that can make the best offer right now is the Jets. Second overall pick. We'll give you Sam Darnold too.
They're saying Sam Darnold could go for a late first right now.
So if that's the way he's being valued, I
don't think you want Sam Darnold. If I'm the Texans, and I got a top 5 quarterback, I am thinking about things like this. Like, would Buffalo be willing to come off of Josh Allen? Probably not.
You could send an email.
You know what I mean? you know, and then
you can send an email and ask.
Deshaun Watson don't want to be here, so okay, I'm going to go get another good quarterback. I don't think the whole Baker thing is that off when I say if the Texans go, okay, Deshaun Watson don't want to be here, maybe we can get Baker and a pick. You know what I mean? But those are the caliber guys that I'm talking about. Or maybe it's now they're saying Derek, or the Raiders can move on from Derek Carr. What if it's the Raiders, want to move Derek Carr and get picked? So I think you need to watch out for teams that are like, all right, quarterback for quarterback here. I'm the Texans GM, and I'm like, all right, he don't want to be here. We got to get rid of him because he don't want to be here. He's going to cause a problem. It's going to be all in the media. Let me go try and get the next best thing.
Here's the problem with that. Deshaun Watson has a no-trade clause.
Right.
He can have a lot of say in where he goes.
He has to choose his team, yeah. But even if you're the Texans, like, are you – I mean, you could even be like, damn, is Jimmy Garoppolo good enough to us want to be like, okay, give us Garoppolo, a trade somewhat like the Lions and Rams just
did.
Dude,
a healthy San Fran with Watson?
Oh, dude, that's crazy. So give us Garoppolo and 3 first-round picks. Or I'm just throwing out scenarios here that, to me, as being the Texans GM, and I got to get rid of Deshaun Watson because he doesn't want to be here, the first thing I'm doing is going to the Bills.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And if I'm the Bills – and
you think about it for a minute.
Oh, dude, if I'm the Bills, and it's Watson for Allen straight up, I'm thinking hard as a Bills fan. I'm thinking, whew, wow.
Yeah, how could you not?
I don't think that happens. Obviously, that I'm just, throwing the scenarios out there.
No, yeah, I think it would be much quicker to name teams that should not consider it than it would be to say teams that should. The Packers should.
Well, they're not going to do that.
I mean, they're not going to.
Rodgers. But let me ask you this.
But I'm saying, like, the only team that I can think of off the top of my head that shouldn't even entertain a Deshaun Watson trade right now is the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Because they have Mahomes.
And let me ask you, and I would say probably Seattle too.
Man, we've talked. I mean,
Russell gets confused when all the guys are on the front line and he don't know who's coming. Yes. But with that being said, I don't think they offer nothing. I think that's one of the impossibles too. But aren't you? I mean, it's a top 5 quarterback. You got to be thinking like. So I'm gonna ask you this question.
Oh, I already know where you're going.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, and I know you think he's a little overrated or whatnot. So they say, hey, Burrow and a first here.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I have to. I mean, I love Joe Burrow, man. That's my guy, but. Yeah,
come on, it's Deshaun fucking Watson.
Yeah,
it's like you get trounced
as
a Browns fan for saying, okay, yeah, I know Baker took us to the playoffs, but if you get Deshaun Watson for Baker in a first, why the fuck wouldn't you?
Dude, I don't really have player loyalties like that.
No,
my loyalty is to my team. That's why.
That's why you suffer so much, and why I suffer for so long.
Yeah, but that's why I'm able to ignore a lot of the things that I don't like about LeBron James because right now he's on the Lakers and he helped the Lakers win a title. My loyalty to my team.
I don't have loyalty to players. I like players.
I like players. There's guys I may not want to see go, but at the end of the day, my loyalty is what can get the Bengals a Super Bowl.
I mean, it's literally like it's not as big as, but it's literally like asking, hey, if you could get Patrick Mahomes for Joe Burrow and 2 firsts, or hey, if you could get Patrick Mahomes for Baker and 2 firsts, like fuck yeah,
yeah.
I mean, what do you mean?
Like, I appreciate you, Baker.
I'm not going to feel bad about it for saying, yeah, even though he took us to the fucking playoffs, fuck that,
dude. The Browns, whoever's doing this, also, I was going to bring this up. They've got to stop selling the commemorative coin about the wild card playoff win.
Dude,
you can't do that.
No, dude, you do that when you win a fucking Super Bowl.
Super Bowl only. But I also own a Cincinnati Bengals van that is orange with black stripes, and on the back of it there are 2 stickers commemorating the AFC Championship wins that we have.
Yeah.
But I inherited that van from my dad. I didn't put that on.
So we got to get to the last subject here. This is a fucking long episode.
Dude, it really is.
We got to get to the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is Sunday. Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs versus Tom Brady and the Bucks. This is going to be a good one. This is going to be fun.
It is, and we did this last year. I want to bring in our betting expert, a top fan and good friend of the show, Tim Combs. He's real big into the betting shit, so I want to bring him in. We talked about it last year. We'll do that real quick. Tim, what's up, man?
Hey, how we doing, guys?
Man, our resident betting expert, degenerate gambler, whatever you want to go by.
Degenerate gambler is probably better.
So you know more about the betting side of things than I think we do. So first and foremost, where's your money going on this game? What are you betting?
Well, Vegas needs Kansas City to win.
Of course.
A lot of money's coming on the Bucks just because of they're the underdog. They've got a lot of money on them right now. So Vegas needs Kansas City to win, and I think I'm going to ride that gravy train. I think Kansas City covers -3 pretty easily. I like the Chiefs. Everything Chiefs. Chiefs over. Chiefs -3. I feel like I was kind of iffy about the Chiefs. I think they balled out last week against the Bills, and I think the Chiefs is the play.
So you got the Chiefs covering. Take Chiefs everything if you want to win the money. But I like the fucking weird prop bets and shit.
There's some cool bets you can bet on. There is
like you can bet on the coin toss.
Yes, that's like the trademark one. Everybody, I mean, it's 50-50. So I go tails, but they say tails never fails. You can bet on the coin toss. You can bet on how long do you think the national anthem is going to be. It's over under 2 minutes.
See, last year we were talking Lizzo, and we knew it would be long.
Yeah, so this year it's country. It's Eric Church and somebody else. So that could get drawn out too. That could get drawn out. It's usually like 1 minute and 45 seconds is what it's supposed to be. But the over-under is 2 minutes, so again, 50-50. I steer clear of that bet. That's not one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, that's too arbitrary.
So there is a cool bet you can make. It's over or under how many commercials people will be wearing masks.
No shit.
So somebody's wearing a mask in a commercial. I think the over-under is like 10 commercials, which I think that's a lot. But it's propaganda. They might be pushing the whole mask thing, so who knows?
That's Biden. Okay, we said we weren't going to go there.
I mean, you're not wrong.
So, hey, Tim, do they still have the Gatorade color when it's dumped on the coach?
They do. So I was just actually looking at that today. I think the favorite last year was supposed to be red because Kansas City. I think this year it's red as well. The Bucks and the Chiefs are both red, so red is the favorite. It's like plus 100, so pretty much even money. If you bet $100, you'll get $100 back. I think the long shot was purple. So that was like plus like 400. So I don't think they're too high on purple. I think red's a solid choice. Red, orange, and blue. That's like the three favorites.
I still think it's Andy Reid. If they win, it might be barbecue sauce.
I don't know if that was one of the choices, but if I can pencil something in, I can talk to somebody.
Yeah, throw $10 on that.
Yeah, the barbecue sauce. I like it. Yeah, you can also bet on. I'm trying to think of what was. A bet I actually really like is. It's not a prop bet. It is a prop bet player wise. It's Patrick Mahomes. His over under for yards passing is 327. I think it's going to go over. I think he's going to throw about 350.
Yeah, I'd take the over on that too.
I think there's going to now. The Bucks. So watching the playoffs. Obviously, I didn't watch a lot of Bucks games, but watching the playoffs, you watch every game. The Bucks defense is good. I think the Bucks defense is way better than I gave them credit for. They're kind of hitting their Patriot, win the last 3 or 4 games of the season, win 3 or 4 games in the playoffs, and here you are. You win 7 or 8 games in a row. Now you're in the Super Bowl. So, but I don't know if the Bucks can get into a shootout with the Chiefs. So I thought the Bills were going to do that with the Chiefs. They didn't do that with the Bills. Cost me a lot of money, a lot of fucking money. Excuse my language.
Oh no, dude, we encourage it.
Dude, the Bills killed me last week or 2 weeks ago. The Bills annihilated the Bills killed me. I thought they were going to hang in there. They got killed, slaughtered. I think the same thing's going to happen in the Super Bowl. I think Brady will keep it close, but overall, like maybe 30-21, something like that. Chiefs 30-21, 31-21.
Tim, I got a question. I got a question real quick. There's a lot of people that don't gamble. So,
Right.
for instance, say they follow your lead here and they take the Chiefs.
Okay.
Tell them, like, for instance, if you don't want to say how much you put on the Chiefs, and then what's it pay out?
So if you bet on the Chiefs to just win, they don't have to win by any points, just straight up win. Right now I believe they're at minus 170 or 180 or something like that. In that range, it goes up and down. So if I bet, let's say, $180 on the Chiefs, I will get, if they win, I'll get my 180 back plus I'll get $100. Or if you have big money and you bet $1,800 on the Chiefs and they win, you'll get your $1,800 back plus $1,000. So
Damn.
the minus 180 is, for every $180 that you bet, if the Chiefs win, you'll get $100 back. So if you bet $360, you'll get $200 back, $540, $300 back, and so on. Now on the flip side of that, the Bucks are plus 120. So for every $100 you bet, you will get 120 back. So if you bet 100 on the Bucks, they win, you'll get your 100 back plus 120. So that's why there's a ton of money right now on the Bucks. There's like these millionaires that bet the Super Bowl games. I mean, money is just flooding in on the Bucks. So Vegas is really pulling for the Chiefs. I'm pulling for the Chiefs, but there's all this stuff surfacing with them getting haircuts and 20 people were exposed, and so hopefully no one's out of the game or the game's not screwed up. But as of now, if everybody plays, I'm riding Chiefs.
Usually Vegas do not lose.
Yeah, Vegas doesn't lose very often, so especially when it's like millions of dollars. So if you start seeing a bunch of penalties on the Bucks, the fix is in. The Chiefs are winning. The fix is in.
That sounds about right, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming on, talking all the betting stuff. And I appreciate you breaking it down for people that may be beginners. Quick shout out, man.
Sure.
You and Logan, I used to work with you. You guys just opened up a fucking huge trucking facility and shit right here in Dayton, bringing jobs to Dayton. So shout out to you guys for that. And tell Logan I got his hoodie pressed up.
Yeah, he's been looking for that.
Yeah, I'll have to link up with him here sometime, and I'll get it to him. But we appreciate you coming on, man. We'll holler at you later.
For sure. Thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks,
Yeah,
Tim.
see you, man.
See you guys.
Good stuff.
So
I remember that last year, man, and that dude's into the betting, So he
betting and like memorabilia, like cards and shit. He knows it all. So let's get into our Super Bowl predictions.
Well, what do you think? How do you see this game going?
I always said I wasn't going to bet against Pat Mahomes, but for much longer I've been saying I wouldn't bet against Brady.
This is interesting.
I'm going with Tampa Tom. I'm going with the Bucks.
What's your score?
I think that if the Bucks win, it'll be a close game. I think probably in the 31 to 34 type range. Like they edge him out by a field goal because Brady got him into position late or something like that. Excuse me. If the Chiefs win, I think it's going to be much more high scoring. But hopefully they get Antoine Winfield back on the defense there. He was been very good, the rookie out of Minnesota. I'm too big of a Brady fan, man. I can't bet against Brady. I got Brady 34-31, something like that.
I'm going to go just a little bit deeper here. Here's my thing. Us, along with millions and millions and millions of people, believe that Tom Brady is the GOAT.
Nobody should believe that he's not.
I mean, the dude's been to 10. This is 10th Super Bowl.
Don't tell me Joe Montana either.
Yeah. So his 10th Super Bowl. So here's my thing. You're never going to – the guy they're saying that could catch Tom Brady is Patrick Mahomes. So now you get Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
Like the GOAT versus the baby GOAT.
Exactly. And in my opinion, this is never going to happen again. You're not going to see Pat Mahomes and Brady in the Super Bowl next year. It's just not going to happen.
Maybe it will. I don't know.
It's not going to happen. I don't believe.
No, because the Bengals are going to be there for the AFC.
So here's my point. If Patrick Mahomes does not beat Tom Brady, he can never be considered the GOAT.
Ooh,
never be
the
considered
GOAT. Because
GOAT.
he never took down
Patrick
the GOAT.
Mahomes.
To be the man, you got to beat the man.
Exactly. Just like Ric Flair used to say.
Woo!
So for Patrick Mahomes to ever be the GOAT, he has to win this game. There's no ifs, ands, or buts around it. Tom Brady's the GOAT. You're coming. You're the closest thing to it, playing right now.
Much younger, much
more
more
But if you
athletic.
ever want to be the GOAT, Patrick, you have to win this game.
Damn.
You got to win this game.
That's a good point.
Otherwise, you will never, ever be as good as Brady was.
To be the
I don't
man, you
care
gotta beat the
if
man.
you win more Super Bowls. I don't care if Brady ends with, how many's he got right now? 6, 7?
He's got 6.
I don't care if he ends with 6 and you get 7. And you
never
lost
beat him,
head-to-head
you have a
over
chance.
Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. You cannot be the GOAT. Brady's going to be the GOAT before and after this game. But if you get to 6 and Brady's at 6 and you beat Brady head-to-head, even with him being a 43-year-old man, Patrick,
you would be the GOAT.
you would be the GOAT.
That's
You would be the GOAT. But if you do not beat Tom Brady, you will always be in Tom Brady's shadow. You will never be the GOAT.
That's a good way to look at it, because you always look at the LeBron chasing Jordan, right? LeBron always says, I'm chasing a ghost because Jordan has moved on. He can't play. No, Mahomes doesn't have that. The ghost is still alive.
The GOAT,
He's right in front of you.
The GOAT is alive. And as we grow up, and as these NFL players grow up, you always want to be the best ever. But the saying is said, like Drew said, to be the man, you got to beat the man.
Damn,
And
I never
you
thought
get
of
the
that.
chance, Patrick Mahomes. You get the chance. You are one of the rare occasions to beat the GOAT of Tom Brady in the biggest game in the craziest year. You can be on your way to being the greatest ever if you win this game. But if you lose this game, it's over. It's already over. You will never, ever pass Tom Brady.
That is damn good stuff. I'd never even thought about that perspective. Never even thought of
With
it.
that being said,
You got to start prepping me more before these fucking podcasts, man.
With that being said, Chiefs 40, Bucks 30. But
Oh, wow. He's going to beat the GOAT by 10.
but I'm rooting for Tom. I don't like to see good things come to an end. And if Tom wins this, I don't think he's done. I think he's saying he can play till he's 45 now.
I think he's doing that.
You
no
know,
matter what.
father time and all this and that. Eventually we'll catch up with him. But I don't like to see great things come to an end. I don't like to see Jordan retire. I don't like LeBron the person, but LeBron the player is great. I'm not going to like when LeBron retires. Okay? And I don't want nobody wanted to see Peyton Manning retire.
Right.
I like to see great things keep going. So I will be rooting for Tom Brady and the Bucks, even though I don't think they get it done. But with what I said with the GOAT talk, you got to win this, Pat. The pressure's on you. The pressure's not on Tampa. Tampa and the Bucks are underdogs. You got to go out there and do what you did to Buffalo last week.
Whew.
Only thing you're going against now is the GOAT, a guy that's been there a million times, a guy that looks pressure in the face and slaps it. Okay, this is Pat Mahomes' biggest game ever.
Damn. I completely agree with that, and I never thought about that. So we got that coming up. We will have a Super Bowl review next week, and then we will see how everything else falls out in the world of sports. Quick shout out. I want to shout out my guy Tom Huseby down in Kentucky. Won our free shirt last
yeah,
week,
Tom.
dude. It was close. He fucking
Listening all the way in Kentucky.
Yeah, I didn't even know we had anybody that listened out there. As a guy I used to work with, he sent me Duke Blue Devils, at I don't know what he was doing up this late, but it was like 1:30 in the morning. So he got the free shirt. I shipped it out to him down there in the bluegrass state. So we've crossed state lines. It looks like, so that's good. So yeah, get with us. We will have Super Bowl coverage. Maybe I'm looking for funny memes to post all the time. Maybe I'll get something good going on there. We appreciate everybody tuning in. If you're still here, this has been a long one, so we appreciate it, and we will see you guys next time. Locker Room Talk Uncut.